Hey everyone, this is Danielle, also known as Gently Smiling Jaws, and welcome to my Flosstube. Today I'm going to start off with the tea because it is pretty cold out there. I haven't checked to see what today's temperature is, but the last few days have been very cold, far colder than we normally get in this area of the country, and I know that many other places around the country are dealing with blizzards and other severe weather, so I hope everyone out there is staying safe and warm. So the tea is what I wanted to start with, and today, let's see, I don't know offhand what brand this is. It is a it's a little tuo of sticky rice pu'er. I think it's a ripe pu'er that uses some kind of herb, and I'll see if I can look it up and put it into the video, that really smells like cooked sticky rice. And I actually think that this type of pu'er was the very first type of pu'er that I ever had. And I don't know all the companies out there that make it, but it seems like every time I've seen it in one of these small little tuos, the wrapper has been pink. I'm not sure why, but that's just, it's not something I have all the time, but I find the flavor very sort of familiar and comforting. It's quite nice. So let me get that going. Okay. All right, I'll let that sit there for a minute. And I am filming this a bit early before, so that I have time to edit and get it online in time for my next upload date. As I had sort of mentioned before, that just when I thought that things were calming down, there was sort of another wrench thrown into things. And right now, I think it hasn't been too many days. I think there's been about 5 days so far in January where I have not stitched, days where I've just kind of come home from work and been like, I'm not doing anything today. And things, as I said before, things will get better eventually. It's just sort of a time of learning new procedures and a lot of new stuff, and I currently have more things on my plate than I usually do, which at some point in the relatively near future should hopefully be going back off my plate again, and then things will calm down a bit. But I wanted to film this early to make sure that I had plenty of time to do editing before it went up. And I don't have, well, this way, I have stitched quite a lot. It's only on 2 projects, so I don't have too many things to show. It's sort of, so far January has been the month of modern folk embroidery, because I started the 2024 stitch along No Time Like the Present right on New Year's Day, and my hope is that I can keep up with this. I don't know whether I will finish it in the 10 months, because I think if you stick to the schedule, it should be finished in October. And ideally, I would stay on track and have it finished by then, but I would definitely like to have it finished by the end of the year if I don't have it finished by October. So my push in January was, once I started it, I wanted to keep going and make sure I got through January's portion, because I was afraid if I set it down to work on something else, I would find excuses not to go back to it. So I wanted to keep moving forward. So I did. I went past what was needed for this month. I was kind of looking at the chart and seeing like where we were supposed to get to, but in some areas I was going down further on the chart. So I think right now, let me take a look at my notes here. So I am, actually I'll probably need to open up my tablet to see the curve. Actually no, if I move, so I last stitched on it yesterday, or no, it was on Saturday, Saturday the 13th I stitched on it, and I am currently at 4,075 stitches, and I think that each section is around 3,500 stitches or so. I'm not sure what the exact count for January's section was, but I know I went a little beyond that. So that's where I am on that one. I am stitching it on 40 count linen from Bestitch Me through the stones, and I'm using 2 thread gatherer silken colors. The dark brown is the chestnut, and the lighter color is called snow cream. So let me bring that up here. I'm trying to be better about taking things out of the hoop or Q-snap when they're going to be kind of sitting for a while. So since I got to the end of what I'm going to do until February, I went ahead and popped this out of the hoop that I had it in. So here is where things are at. Let's try it. I'm still quite happy with my color choices. The one thing is maybe wishing that the contrast was a little bit more between the snow cream and the fabric, but still I'm fine with it. So let's see if we can put this up here. And so there we go. So you can see some areas where I've gone down further here. That's where things are at right now. There are some areas where there's maybe like 2 or 3 areas where I know I made a mistake, but it was something where it wasn't going to impact things hugely, so I just left it because I want to keep moving forward and not being so consumed with perfection that it becomes tedious. There was a section, I think over in this area, an area where I did get some counting off and did frog a portion of that because I knew I would be unhappy if I left that mistake in. But other stuff that's been smaller, I've just let it go. So that's where that is currently. You know, I do have Notion and the cross stitch kind of templates and things for that, and I just haven't sat down and gotten really familiar with using it yet, and so maybe at some point in the future I'll get stuff entered in, but for right now I'm sort of preferring to enter in things in my little weeks notebook and make note of things that way. So looking at this, you know, like I said, there were a number of days I didn't stitch, and when I'm usually getting in a big chunk of stitches is on the weekends, because looking at this on January 1st, where I was making that big push, I got just over 1,000 stitches in. Tuesday the 2nd, which was the day I also had off, I got in a bit over 400. Then I didn't do anything for the rest of the week. And then that first Saturday, or in January, let's see, 724 stitches on Saturday, 415 on Sunday, Monday, 304, Tuesday didn't feel like doing anything, Wednesday I got in 300, Thursday I didn't feel like doing anything, Friday I made a small effort, I got in 119, and then Saturday the 13th I got in 782 because I was determined just to get that section that I needed to get done, because as much as I enjoy this project, I was looking forward to stitching on something else. It was getting to be a bit much, and I wanted to complete my goal for the month, but also move on to other things. So after completing that, the next day, I went back to another modern folk embroidery piece, Julbocken, the one I was working on in right around Christmas. And I think when I last showed it in my Whip Parade video, by the time the Whip Parade went up, I had already worked on it some more, and then I made a big chunk of progress on it, almost 700 stitches yesterday. And this one I still have in the hoop because I'm probably going to go back to stitching on this again today. So here we go. I am really happy with how this one's coming out. If I look back in my other weeks, I'd be able to double check, but this floss is Silken Colors. I believe it's in the reds, and I really am liking this combination of the silk and the fabric. And the fabric, I think the sticker was off here. I know it's called Mallow. It may be a Zweigart. Let me take a look here. If I look back, since I've got my other weeks here. Yes, it's 40 count Mallow Linen by Zweigart, and the Threadgather Silken Colors is in the reds. So back again, here's where we're at. So we've got the top portion of that border started in on the goat itself, and let me see if I've got a total number of stitches that I've done on this so far. This is currently 2,640 stitches out of 6,998, so we are at 37.73%. I got those numbers because even though I'm not using Notion, I do use Pattern Keeper for the vast majority of stuff that I'm working on, so it's nice to have the numbers on there. So like I said, this is probably what I will be working on yet this afternoon, and see what further progress I can make, because even though I'm not yet 50% in, this is something that I'm excited to stitch on right now, and so I'm hoping that if I move forward, that maybe I can get this done in the next time. I don't know whether I'm going to keep stitching on this one until it's done, but if I can keep making good progress, I can have it done and then onto something else or other whips before too long. But yes, I'm quite pleased with how this is coming out. So, set that down. Grab some of this tea. Now that the leaves in here have had a chance to open up some more, not that I can show it even if the camera was at an angle to really see in the cup, because the cup is dark inside, but this is one of those teas that brews up very dark, like coffee dark, but during the first bit of steeping before the leaves really open up, it's not that color yet. But now that those leaves have opened, I think I'll start to see some more color there. I'm going to let that one brew a smidge longer there. Not fully there yet, but I am seeing more color coming off the leaves. Okay, what else? I did sign up for the Superb Owl stitching event, which of course is on Super Bowl Sunday. And I know I had talked about I don't know whether I mentioned it, if it was part of that Whip Parade video, maybe it was part of the Whip Parade video, about wanting to be more intentional with my purchases this year. And I have purchased stuff so far this month, but it was been things that I was thinking about, like after hearing about the Superb Owl event, that was something that I had been planning on doing, so I knew I had wanted to do that. And then I did place some orders just before the end of December, because I thought, well, sort of last hurrah to get some of this ordered before I start reeling it back in. And the other thing that I did was I knew that Miriam from Marumi Designs was releasing a pattern on her birthday, and that Banana Oil was going to be releasing some fabric that was sort of meant to go along with that pattern. And because I had been thinking about that for a while as well, that was already on my radar, and so those were some purchases that I made. And I did not bring the fabric that I ordered in with me. Probably should have done that, but yeah, so I'm on that, but I'm trying to sort of reel things back now. And I think that for me, what helps is that if I'm sitting at my computer in the evening, and maybe I'm watching a video or watching a Twitch stream or something, and then kind of multitasking and doing other things, where I can be sitting there and starting to browse shops and things, that's when I get myself in trouble. So what I'm trying to do now is move myself from sitting at my computer so much to spending more time sitting on my couch where I stitch, and I use my tablet, and then I often have Pattern Keeper up, and then maybe I'll be also listening to music or like a Flosstube video or watching a Twitch stream. And then if I've got my hands busy and I'm listening and using my tablet that way, it kind of helps keep me out of trouble, and I am able to do a lot more stitching. And I'd have to look back. I don't know that I've calculated how much stitching I had done kind of per month last year. And I know that part of what why my stitching was less than it could have been was because I had those crochet blankets. And let's see, did I make any note anywhere? I might have, like, for 1 month and then not done it. Let's see. September of last year, for the entire month, I did about 7,000 stitches. Oh, okay, it looks like maybe a couple months. So I did September 2023, kind of just over 7,000 stitches. Then October was like 3,600 or so. And then it looks like I did not do any calculation for November or December. Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I'll try and make more note of those things. What I am doing in my weeks is at the beginning there's sort of a little chart that lists that where you can see sort of the entire year, all the months and then the days going down. And I've been shading in the days where I stitch, and then once the month is over, I fill in up the top, like how many days, you know, out of the month did I stitch. And I do have, this was last year where I was calculating days cross stitching as well as days that I was crocheting, kind of days doing both. Is that gonna? Yeah. And looking at this last year, last January, I only stitched 17 out of 31 days. February, I only did 3 days. I think that I was just kind of ready for a break right then. March, 13 days. April, 8 days. May, 4. So May was my second first month, but I did a couple days of crochet in there as well. Then from June onward, I started kind of picking up again. Yeah, looking at it, I mean, I suppose I know that I was doing anytime getting those crochet blankets done, but looking at this, really the number of days per month was not necessarily all that much. One month I did 3 days, another month 10, another month 5. August I didn't do any crochet at all. September was 11 days, October 15, November 9, and December only 5 because I think I had finished, I got the crochet blanket done fairly early on in the month, and then, you know, was kind of ready for a break. But I think that although the number of days isn't necessarily that much, every time I would crochet, it was often on, not always, but often on a weekend, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get a chunk of stuff done, and I would sit down to crochet, and I would, you know, put on some video or show, and would sit there, and I would crochet away. And I think that a lot of times when I was doing that, I was getting through kind of most of a skein in one session. I would just kind of sit there, and I would take, you know, some breaks and then go back to it, but I was really kind of making a push. And that was probably not the best way to do it, because as I had mentioned before, that the doing all that kind of crochet in a long stretch, and then also doing the cross stitch as well, I could really start to notice it in my arm. So I've tried to be more careful, better. I think that the crochet motion is kind of harder on my arm, and it may be just, you know, the tension that I was using, how I was, you know, how hard I was gripping the hook on things, because even though I've got in quite a bit of cross stitching so far this month, I haven't really felt my arm feeling like it did when I was starting to feel some pain last year. So I'm trying to be mindful and careful and taking breaks, because the last couple days as I was doing some stitching, I'd sit there and I'd, you know, do some stuff, and then I was like also had laundry going and things like that. So there would be a reason that after I was sitting there for a while, it'd be like, okay, let's take a break, let's get up, let's, you know, put the laundry in the dryer, you know, put a new load in, do something like that, or stop and time for lunch or something. So that even though I was getting in quite a bit of stitching, I was still incorporating breaks in there, so it wasn't, you know, so hard on my arm. So trying to be more conscious of things like that. What else? Let's put this here. I guess what I will talk about next, and I'm going to get my tablet for this because I have notes, and I think I'm also going to be inserting pictures or segments of video to show you closer up, because Nitya from, is it Daybreak Stitchery, or the Day, I know there's the Daybreak Stitchery and the Daybreak Stitcher, and I'm trying to remember which one is hers. I will make a note of it here in the video. But she had commented on the things that I have on the wall back here, and been sort of interested in wanting to know what was there. And actually there's not a lot of it is stitching. The majority of it is just artwork that's not terribly large, but it was art that I enjoyed, and sort of things that I had picked up but hadn't had, and I hadn't gotten around to putting them up, and I had wanted to do a gallery wall type of thing. And so this is sort of the in progress version, and obviously we've still got more space, and there's actually one item up here which I'll have to show a picture of, which you can't even see in the frame, and maybe in the future I'll change kind of how the camera setup is once I have more things on the wall. But I wanted to kind of go over what the items are, so that in case you wanted to know or wanted to look up these artists yourself, you could do so. So let me grab my tablet here. I'm going to go through the order that I have these notes in here, and which is not necessarily the order the things are on the wall. I'm going to start with Gravestone Girls, where they have kind of castings from actual gravestones, and I have a few things up here. Over on that side there, yes, you can see them in here, the little bat on the top, and there's another bat on the bottom. Those are actually two bats that are on the same tombstone. One of them is called Just Batty, and the other one is Beware the Underworld. And all of the ones that I have from Gravestone Girls are in the color Black Plague. They have a few different color options. So those two bats there. The one in between is called Trampled Underfoot. And I think in the actual gravestone, although, you know, it's shown vertical here, I think on the actual stone it's horizontal. And you can see the edge of like a wing that's above the skeleton there. And then what you can't see, so I'll definitely have to insert a picture for that, is one called Rest Your Bones, and it's a reclining skeleton. And there's a number of other ones from there that are nice. I think it's interesting, all of the gravestones. I think most of the gravestones that they do are kind of New England based ones that have the interesting, kind of art and symbols on them. Next is from an Etsy shop called Barnacles and Moss, and these are the ones in the I guess they're octagonal frames here. That one, and that one. The 4 different ones are, there's garter snake. There's a garter snake and with it's like poppies, and there's little ghosties. Shake Senora, the Beetlejuice inspired one there. There's also Thumbelina that has some small little ghosts in with flowers. And then strawberries, it has strawberries. And so next is MHeld Illustration, and these are all prints that, wake back up tablet, that, come on, that this artist will have. You can either just buy prints, or there's prints in, that have been framed in sort of, I don't know that they're necessarily antique frames, but they're kind of frames that they've gotten in. And that's what I had ended up getting with these, because I figured the less that I have to do when I get it, the sooner I could get it up on the wall. And it's also some more interesting frames than I could probably find myself. So we've got over there the 3 kind of ovals hanging in a row. That is the Bat Trio. I believe the one at the top, which in the frame you can only see part of, and I don't remember offhand what type of bird is in that one, but there's the bird and then the snakes. That one is called Token. The red-winged blackbird down there is Memento. The one here with the goat, which is everything inspired by the movie The Witch, that one is called Live Deliciously. And then this one down here with the salamander is Fiery Little Prince. Next, we have Joanna Barnum. Up here, the bat, this one is actually an original watercolor. So small little watercolor, but it's an original, and it's Bat Stretch. And I just like that one because it was something that was already framed, which is, hey, bonus for me. And again, not a huge piece, so although an original, not nearly as much as a larger original would be. And it was a bat, so it sort of fit with kind of what I was going for here. And yeah, so I was very happy to add that one in. The 2 wooden ovals over there. The skeleton one is Dancing with Stars, and the ghost one is Star Ghosty, and that is from Etched in Embers Pyrography. That's it's wood burned, and I think the artist may do like some encaustic stuff as well, but these ones are kind of wood burning and painting there. So I had like those, and again fit in with the theme. Down below here I have a little shadow box from FloMadeMourning, who a lot of what they have on their store, they'll do these poppets, these dolls, that some of them are based on like historical or literary figures, or they do custom orders, things like that. I don't have any of those, but this little shadow box, they did a series where they did the poppets, and then they did shadow boxes also that were sort of, you know, for the same, named for the same kind of, you know, character that they came up with. And then these shadow boxes had a kind of little story to go along with it. And this was the Patience shadow box, and the story that the artist, or the little poem / story that the artist came up with to go along with that was: Patience was an innocent, her lover was a rogue, seduced and brought to womanhood, then marriage, she supposed. But Patience was mistaken, her lover turned his back, and with a baby on the way, her life had gone off track. He refused to hear her pleas, he was cold in the face of her tears, so she took her knitting needle and stabbed him through the ear. So I thought that was dark and humorous, and again, a small piece that was affordable, and so that was something that I had picked up to add to this area here. So that's all the artwork on the wall. The other things that I have down here is where I actually have some of my own stitching. Over there in the frame is the pattern Palmistry from the Witchy Stitcher, and that was again one of my earlier pieces. It was kind of, I think, the first one that I did with the intention of, you know, this pattern looks enjoyable, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to stick it in a frame when I'm done. So that one is on Ada, and it was an Ada I got from Lindy Stitches. I think it's a 16 count. I don't remember, something rum or rum something. Don't remember for certain. Then in the hoop is also the Witchy Stitcher Stay Spooky on the black Ada, and then the bee in the bottle from, again, the Etsy seller who's cute designs by Maria, cute patterns by Maria, on the 46 count linen. Then here we've got a black, white, and orange. So I start to knock things over there. It's little spiders made out of bells, and these were just something I ordered from, was it Joann's? Either Joann's or Michael's, one of the crafts. And then there's also a little box here with a spider web pattern on it, and that is from Joann's as well. So I think that that's where I will end things for now, and then work on getting this edited and inserting the images of the artwork so you can see it better, and having this up in time for the next Flosstube. So if you have watched all the way through, thank you so much. And if you were stitching while watching this video, let me know what you were working on. All right, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.